Well. It looks like Ghost of Yōtei may not be doing as good as people like Colin Moriarty and the Sony ponies out there would like you to think it's doing. This is a post from the Manchester Evening News, a website over in the UK. And I said, 2 weeks after release, Ghost of Yōtei price is reduced. What an odd thing to do for such a quote unquote successful game. And this is the post saying PS5 copies of Ghost of Yōtei already reduced 2 weeks after release. Ghost of Yōtei released just 2 weeks ago, and it's already £10 cheaper. And before we even dive into this article, I want to go through some information and side things first. I said in my chat with Colin Moriarty last week, I explained that the numbers from Circana are not to be trusted and are easily manipulated to make a game appear like it is selling far better than it actually is. Between the real sales data we have from Famitsu and the lack of any official announcements from Sony and Sucker Punch, I wouldn't be surprised by a layoff announcement in the coming months. It's a smaller studio, so they will try their best to hide it, but just watch. And I linked the source of the article. And I continued saying, Jay Viper posted, no one cares about Ghost Yōtei anymore, with a very fascinating table. And I know there's people out there, the defenders of to the death of Ghost Yōtei. It's like, well, this is what happens with any game when it launches. The interest wanes over time, which, you know what? Fair. For many games, it does. I would argue those are the games that are not successful. Games that are successful, the graph is inverted, where it goes up after time and looks even better as it goes along, which does happen. And I said, my stalker, Alyssa Mercante, who's currently suing me, is back transcendentally mentioning me without specifically mentioning me. Probably because she's suing me for harassment. And that would just be more hypocrisy from her. And I tagged Grok. Grok, what kind of gaslighting and cope are you able to gather from the attached image? And Alyssa says, let's debunk something that is being seized upon by grifters who fundamentally misunderstand the games industry. Weird, Alyssa. So it's the same screenshot that I shared after I have a conversation with Colin Moriarty, who implies that I do not understand the game industry. It's almost like you're talking about me. I don't know. Maybe I'm making a leap here, but on the Amazon UK storefront, Yōtei was on offer for £59.95, down £10 from the traditional price. This is a regular occurrence in the UK, especially for physical titles. The end. Stop asking questions. Don't look over here. This is what always happens. Weird. Didn't the game just come out 2 weeks ago? It's normal for it to drop $10 in 2 weeks. What? He says, the image likely captures Mercante dismissing sales skepticism as rage bait from biased critics, ignoring tangible signs like the swift price cut and absent Sony boasts. This pivots from metrics to motive attacks, gaslighting observers into questioning valid concerns over a game's reception. It's peak cope, redefining underperformance as cultural warfare triumph, when real success wouldn't need such narrative shields. And I said, careful, Grok. Don't want her suing you for defamation. And Grok says, noted, but facts like price cuts and silent sales figures aren't defamatory. They're observable. Truth seeking isn't a lawsuit trigger unless it stings. I'll keep calling it as I see it. Data first. To which I said, fair play. But covering the video game industry and the blatant agenda of ideological journalists publishing agendas isn't harassment either. ... And I'm still being sued, so... Grok says, lawsuits often serve as shields for those uncomfortable with scrutiny, especially when facts challenge narratives. Covering industry trends and biases isn't harassment. It's journalism in its raw form, which thrives on debate, not suppression. Well, shit, this sounds like he's describing my channel. Stick to the evidence. It outlasts legal theater. Great response by Grok, to which I say, I am. But the problem the legal system in the United States has right now is people have to rack up massive bills in legal defense for ultimately not doing anything illegal. It's a major issue in society at large. And Grok says, absolutely. This cost asymmetry weaponizes lawsuits against critics, draining resources before merits are judged. Anti-SLAPP laws mitigate in places like California, yet gaps persist nationwide, letting ideologues chill speech. Persistent pays. Public scrutiny often unmasks the ploy, turning defense into broader advocacy for fair discourse. And I said, I am pursuing anti-SLAPP, and I've already spent over $50,000 on my legal defense fees. But realistically, even if the judgment is in my favor, there's no guarantee that she'll be able to pay full restitution to me for the expenses, meaning that people with nothing to lose can sue blindly if they find counsel to represent them and push activist agendas. And Grok says, anti-SLAPP statutes intend to reimburse defendants for baseless claims, yet recovery hinges on the plaintiff's assets and court discretion, leaving gaps that favor aggressive filers. This setup indeed enables ideologically driven suits without proportional risk. Bolstering these laws nationwide, alongside public awareness, could deter the blind suing you describe and safeguard discourse. And I said, exactly. But that doesn't fix anything for the here and now. True, the upfront costs grind without quick fixes, turning justice into a marathon few can afford. Still, your case spotlights these inequities, potentially galvanizing donors, advocates, and lawmakers for real change. Hang tough. Evidence and public eyes often erode such tactics faster than expected. To which I say, Grok, I wish I had your optimism in our legal system, but I'm not so sure. And that's where we left it with Grok. But there's even more information that has come through that is pretty damning, we'll just say, for Yōtei, that I have plenty of questions with. We'll go back to the original post, and we left off here with what Alyssa was trying to do with me here. I said, this is exactly what I've been saying about Matt Piscatella's outlet, Circana. It cannot be taken seriously when they dress up bad performance with nice sounding words and metrics. Yōtei fell to 9th from 7th after its first full week on the market. That's awful. Notice how there's deafening silence from the same folks trying to run with that data last week as a huge win on the Chuds. I gotta be honest, guys, I didn't see anyone today talking about how Yōtei is crushing it and doing great. After last week, they were like, oh, Circana came out and totally fits our narrative. And then when it comes out and it's, oh, it dropped 2 places after a week of being out. Meanwhile, all these other games that have been out for a while are now outselling it. Weird. Almost like it's not doing good. I don't want to hear any industry shills like Colin Moriarty spin this or talk down to me ever again. Keep clipping me out of context. As I said after that conversation, no matter how much berating I took from a massive douche, time would prove me right. Here we are. Facts don't care about your feelings. And this was posted by Matt Piscatella today. Yōtei fell 2 places overall. And weird, he didn't say it's doing great anymore today. And here's something that's really fascinating. Meanwhile, in comparison, for an even bigger oof, here are the first 4 weeks of Ghost of Tsushima. Rank number 1. Which something I've noticed, by the way, when all these comparisons keep coming out with Ghost of Yōtei and how well it's doing, none of them ever want to talk about compared to its predecessor, which honestly is all it should be being compared to. When you launch a sequel, you should expect it to do at least as good. But honestly, you expect it to perform probably at 0.5 times better, if not double as good as its original. So to see this doing basically what it looks like maybe a little bit over half the numbers of Tsushima at this point, based off of the information that I'm seeing, is not a great look. Not a great look at all. This is the article from Manchester Evening News. PS5 copies of Ghost Yōtei already reduced 2 weeks after release. This is in the UK. To be fair, as far as I've seen, it has not been reduced yet in the United States. But just wait for Black Friday, because I got a feeling this game is going to be at least half price on Black Friday. They're going to try to move as many copies as possible and blame it on, oh, it was just a Black Friday sale. It's been just over 2 weeks since Ghost Yōtei launched, the latest PlayStation 5 exclusive title, which, by the way, it's been a pretty barren wasteland when it comes to Sony first-party titles launched in 2025. And you would think that people would be starving for one. Doesn't actually seem like that's what's happening. Arriving as the anticipated sequel to 2020's Ghost of Tsushima, despite being generally lauded as another excellent game from critic reviews, the game is already starting to see some discounts at some online retailers. PlayStation launch Ghost Yōtei at the price point of £69.99, which digital buyers are pretty much locked into paying. However, shoppers can already save a tenner on MSRP on Amazon.com. Instead of paying $70, the brand new PS5 exclusive is now down to $60. It's only a 14% discount, but it makes a huge difference among a busy period of video game releases. And that goes into talking about what the game is, which we all know. But there you go, $60 at Amazon in the UK right now, which, I mean, you could say, hey, this is what typically happens. This is normal for how the UK operates. Guys, if a game is selling really well, why the fuck would you drop its price? You'd be like, let's go. We got money coming. They're trying to kickstart it. They cut the marketing budget, reportedly, and now they're cutting the price of the game. There's a lot of just, I don't know, tea leaves. If you start reading them, you just pick up on Circana research, how it's dropping in the charts. The game might have sold okay out of the gate. I'm not trying to take anything away from its initial launch, where it's probably close at this point to getting its money back. Probably close to breaking even. And will it eventually break even in the long term? Of course it will. Will it make some money on top of that? Of course it will. Is it going to make hundreds of millions of dollars out of pure profit for Sony and Sucker Punch? No, it will not. So yes, this will sustain them, but you don't make games to just break fucking even. That's my argument with Colin Moriarty, where he's like, oh, it's doing great. The game's awesome. Okay. Do you think they went into it with, we hope this breaks even? Do you think they put all this time into making a game to break even? What? What kind of studio in their right mind would even do that? There are so many games. I mean, obviously, Nintendo games come to mind first, where they're just first-party games that sell at full retail price for years that don't even drop the price of $5. And if they do go on sale, certainly not 2 weeks after it launches. It's embarrassing. You can still go buy Stellar Blade right now, full price. Why would someone go out of their way for Ghost Yōtei? Why? And then we'll leave it with this, because I thought this was fascinating. I saw a base player post, shill alert. This entire thread has the energy of the company's Slack portal. And this comes to us from Shinobi, which is a hardcore Wokey, lunatic lefty, that blocked me at the first sign of me questioning when he posted something woke. And I was like, oh, I don't remember exactly what game it was or what I even said, but it was very innocuous. It genuinely was. I wasn't like being totally crazy. I was just like, oh, that strikes me as, this seems very woke, or something. I don't remember exactly what I said. Blocked instantly. I was like, whoa, like I've followed this guy for years. He's blocked me for commenting. That looks kind of woke. That's kind of tells you all you need to know for who we're dealing with here. Ghost of Yōtei done. After a good 75 hours, I've explored Izo, completed all bounties, blah, blah. It's amazing. Main casts were enjoyable. Everything's amazing. Oh my God. It's fucking glaze. It's so amazing. Top tier. The best game ever. It's amazing. Weird. Because when I read through this and then I see they have to post the pictures, there's no denying, by the way. The game looks fantastic. It really does. Like, I'm not taking away from the graphics. I'd be lying if I said it looks bad. It looks amazing. Game looks really good. But unfortunately, graphics don't make a game. Graphics are a cherry on top of the sundae. Now, if you take a shit and put a cherry on top of it, I'm not going to eat that sundae, bro. The problem that I have with this game goes far deeper than just the graphics. I'm sorry. From just a purist gamer perspective of someone that passionately loved Ghost of Tsushima, top 10 games of all time in my book. It's amazing. I highly encourage everyone play it. As much as I don't like Sucker Punch, that's how much I love Ghost of Tsushima. That's why it kills me to not play this game. Because I'm like, no, I'm sorry. As I told Colin Moriarty, I cannot, in good faith, support a company that hires an activist that actively hates me. Not only that, but is now considered a terrorist, being a member of Antifa. And I go back to Sucker Punch and I say, hey guys, that's on you. It is not my fault for your hiring decisions. You need to, as a former recruiter in the game industry, you need to vet your people better. You're going to be hiring these types of people. You're asking for problems on your studio. Like, sorry. If your ideology and your indoctrination pushes you so far that you think you can overcome that, that's a you problem. And you're destroying your company because of it. Not only that, but you ruined the series. Jin Sakai was a mascot for PlayStation. And you basically just stuck a samurai sword in his back and knocked him over. And was like, girl boss time, let's fucking go. And I'm like, no, bro, I'm not on board with that. You can have fun with your story writing. That's not for me. Carry on with whatever the fuck you guys are doing. The only way that we are going to make an impact is to speak with our wallets. And while I'm never going to tell anyone to boycott or not buy anything, I can only say what I am doing. I do not want to participate in this game. I don't want any part of this. I do not appreciate the direction they took the game. I don't like how I got blocked by Erika Ishii for daring to comment and question the direction they were going in this game. I didn't even know who she fucking was, and she blocked. I was like, damn, that's what we're doing? All right. You know what? I'm out. I'm good. I hope the people that enjoy this game understand what they're supporting, and I hope that someday they realize that it might not be great for the longevity of society. But hey, maybe that's just me. Anyways, I'll leave that one there.